Okay, so it looks like you and your spouse might be receiving another stimulus check, and that could be as much as $4,000. So the question is, what are you going to do with that $4,000? Are you going to jump on a Royal Caribbean or a Carnival Cruise Line and go cruise the Caribbean? Or are you going to put it on a down payment on a new truck? Or maybe you'll invest it in your future. Well, I think there's some real 5G opportunities that maybe you're overlooking that possibly where you should invest it. I'm going to get specific on that, and it's not the infrastructure. It's not the Qualcomms and the AT&Ts and the Spectrums or whomever's making the chips. No, it's the people who's going to gather the data. And I think you're going to see that there's a new wrinkle coming into it that you need to be aware of. So let me collect my thoughts. But while I'm gone, though, please give the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. We just passed 100,000 and we're bearing down on 200,000, and you need to be a part of the party. Come join Best of Us Investors. I'll be right with you.
Best of Us Investors presents Carrie Griegmeyer.
Okay, so who are the big winners that I'm talking about in 5G? It's not the normal crowd that you would think. Yeah, they build the infrastructure, but they build the infrastructure for 4G or 3G as well, but they aren't the winners. The winners were the Amazons, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Apples, the people who gathered the data, the people who put themselves in a position to change the way that we live and to bring us 4G and to help us make better decisions in our life. And that's the gatherers of the data. So there's another wrinkle that I think you need to consider, and it comes back to three players that I can identify, actually four: Amazon, Starlink, Astra, and OneWeb. Who are these people? Well, you know who Amazon is, and you probably know who Starlink is. That's part of Elon's SpaceX. Why are these really rich guys? And you know who Amazon is? Jeff Bezos. He's throwing billions of dollars at this Blue Origins. And then you, of course, know Elon Musk is throwing money at his SpaceX, which is then part of Starlink, or Starlink is part of SpaceX. And then there's a new company by the name of Astra. It was founded by Chris Kemp. Who's Chris Kemp? He's the founder of Salesforce, another very successful company. And then Web One is actually owned by the United Kingdom's government, and an Indian company by the name of BHARTI, Bharti. OneWeb went bankrupt back in March, I believe it was, of 2000, because they couldn't raise the capital to continue their efforts. But then they were reorganized under the two current owners. I believe it was sometime in November. Why are these people so interested in putting low-orbiting satellites up in our atmosphere? What is a low-orbiting satellite? It's at 500 to 2,000 kilometers. For those of us in the United States who never converted our minds from miles to kilometers, that's roughly 311 miles up in the air. That's not far. Conventional or traditional communication satellites are, rather than 500 to 2,000 kilometers, they're 36,000 kilometers. So you can see they're at a much lower orbit. They don't move as fast. And what their original projection was for is that of providing quality internet service to the billions of people around the world that don't have a coaxial cable running in front of their yard so that they can get 4G or eventually 5G. No, now with these satellites, you will be able to get much faster service than actually you can get through a coaxial cable, which kind of surprised me, but that is the facts. It's the latency drops down substantially from that of a coaxial cable, which then leads me to believe if in fact that low orbiting satellite can deliver me a faster service than the coaxial cable that's out in my front yard and then comes through right there, why wouldn't I want the satellite? I don't know why I wouldn't. If you can answer that question, please do. Then if I'm right that I would want the satellite, now I understand why Jeff and Chris and Elon and the governments of the Europe or the United Kingdom are spending their money and putting these satellites up in the air. So then as I dug deeper, and the one that really interests me is look up this Astra, A-S-T-R-A. They make a small satellite. They launched a satellite just on, I believe it was the end of December, and it actually didn't make orbit. And so they need to remix their fuel, I guess. But what they're basically doing is they're saying these are going to be available to you, Carrie, if you would like to have a satellite up there to assist you in your business, we'll launch it for you. And I think if I remember right, it was something like, and it'll only cost you between $1 and $2 million. Well, I think I need a satellite. What would I need a satellite for? Well, maybe if I owned a substantial shipping business, and I needed to keep track of my ships in the open sea, if I had a series of satellites up there, I could probably do that. I could keep track of them. What if I, rather than ships, what if I owned a whole fleet of trucks that were autonomous and they're moving up and down the highways in the United States or Europe or whatever? Might I want a satellite or a series of satellites to keep track of them and to assist me? Would that make more sense than putting a driver in every seat and have to provide health insurance and a retirement program? Or would maybe 3 satellites take care of it for me? $3 million and I'm done with it. And depends on how often I have to maintain them. But I think that sounds like something that makes sense. What if I own a lot of farmland all over the world, and I have sensors on the ground, and I want to manage my farmland from satellites? Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think what I'm telling you is that the coaxial cable that's in my front yard, that 2 months ago when we had a hurricane come through here and we had a power surge and it fried my coaxial cable about 200 meters up the street, and I was without internet or what else, landline service for 5 days. Couldn't do that if every autonomous car that was running up and down the highway was tied to a tower that was tied to coaxial cable. Don't think so. I think a satellite might be a better answer. You see where I'm going on this? I remember when internet first came, and it came over my phone line. And you talk about latency, 10 minutes, and all it really was doing was giving me AOL email. But I might sit for 3 minutes waiting for it to make a connection. We are about to enter the second coming of the internet. Well, probably it's the sixth coming, I don't know, but it's going to involve satellites. It's going to involve Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Chris Kemp. And you need to follow the money. And that's where the money's going. Now, I got an email from a friend of mine this morning, and he asked me about Michael Burry's shorting of Tesla. If you don't remember who Michael Burry was, he's a doctor. Remember the movie The Big Short, or the book The Big Short. Who was Bradley Cooper, I think, played him. He's always drumming, and he's had loud music on, and he was shorting. He predicted the subprime crisis, and ran a hedge fund and most of his investors left him and told him he was crazy. But now he's shorting Tesla, and so Lincoln was asking me, should I add to my position in Tesla? Lincoln, follow the money. If Elon's doing it, if Jeff Bezos is doing it, and now a new name, Chris Kemp, and then I would add that to that Twitter's executive, Jack, you know who I'm talking. They've got the money. They've got the knowledge, they've got the experience. They have access to a lot more than you and I do. I mean, we have YouTube, and yeah, there's some really smart people on YouTube telling me how to invest my money. But if I were you, I'd follow Jeff, Chris, and Elon, and Jack. Where they're going is where I want to go. And so, Lincoln, yeah. I don't think you qualify for the $4,000, but yeah, and when Dr. Mike shorted was back on December 3rd, Tesla was $558. Today it's $842. So Dr. Mike needs to pull up his shorts with his short. It isn't working out so well. He may have even dirtied his shorts. So, okay, so that's where I want to go. Oh, and how big is this market? Elon says it's going to cost me $10 billion to put my, Elon is asking for 30,000 satellites. He says it's going to cost him $10 billion, but it's going to bring him back between $30 and $50 billion a year. Does that sound like a good investment? I'll throw $10 billion up into the air, and then it'll give me back 30 to 50 a year. I'll do that in a year. And that's if I had 10 billion. So, yeah, take your $4,000 check and buy one share of Amazon, and maybe you can squeeze out 5 shares of Tesla, but follow the money, and the money's going up into low orbit satellites. That's my take on 5G. Also, 5G is going to put more money in Amazon, Google, Apple, and Microsoft pockets. That's where you want to be. Okay, if this is the kind of video you appreciate, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell, and then I'm working right now on a program to allocate 10% of my portfolio to the young emerging companies in the fields of biotech, 3D printing, robotics, electric vehicles, so that I'm looking for those 22x like Nemo of last year, so that I can get exponential growth. So we do that, and I get ideas for who those stocks are at Best of Us Investors. You'll go there. I'll send you an invitation to join our Discord. There we have now close to 12,000 people who are exchanging ideas, giving me ideas of what I should look at, what I should analyze to find good investments. Because our goal are three. One, make good financial decisions. Two, keep more of what you make by understanding the tax code. And three, build family wealth. You should be striving to create $24 million. That's what the current government will allow us to pass on to our heirs, income tax free. So you should take advantage of it, $24 million to your heirs, so you make a difference. You make a difference while you're here. And they can come back and say, your great grandchildren can say, I remember when my great grandfather, Kerry, left us $24 million. What a country!